LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean is a LEGO game where you play as all your favorite pirate characters like Jack Sparrow, Blonde Lady, Ponytail Guy, and of course, Tentacle Face. I've never seen the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, nor had I ever played this game before, but no matter. I'm a frog, and in this video, I set forth to 100% LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean, but with a time limit. I only have 24 hours to complete it. If it takes me longer than that, then I lose and you get to point and laugh at me. So, clock's ticking, let's hop in. Before anything else, the first step to 100%ing the game is just beating the story levels. Despite having never seen the movies, I will do my best to relay what's happening. Like in this cutscene where the lady in the yellow dress's magical token turns one of the redcoats into a chicken. Meanwhile, Johnny Depp is coming into port and completely wrecks his boat, but before he can do anything else, Amber Heard falls 500 feet off a cliff face first into water but somehow survives, so he dives back in and rescues her and is a hero until the Revolutionary War losers realize he's a wanted pirate. So he flees to the city and winds up in a sword factory and the game begins. Every other LEGO game I've done to this point, I'd played and beaten before many times, so this was an exciting change of pace where I had no idea what to do and ran around in circles accomplishing nothing to begin the level, until I realized that flashing red objects like this could be hammered just like me as I'm writing the script. Just kidding, I don't really drink. I once dated an alcoholic girl and honestly just felt bad for her. Not because she was an alcoholic, but because she was a woman. With the help of John Elway, I pulled a thing which started a fire and out came Jackal Sniper and we had to fight him not because he was a trespasser or pirate, but because Charlie and the Chocolate Factory 2006 was an abomination to mankind. After beating him up, the British come in and they take Mr. Sparrow away and he's in jail until pirates show up and raid the city and kidnap Elizabeth, so as Will Turner and a dog with a scary level of intelligence, we free Jack Sparrow so he can help us rescue Elizabeth. This level introduces the compass mechanic where you can activate Jack's compass and use it to find hidden items, of which there are 8 on every level. So to 100% the game, I'll have to find all of those, along with the usual stuff like 10 mini kits and True Pirate, which is something I unlock IRL every Sunday during football season. There's a beach part where I had to walk under a barrel and stand on an underwater elevator that exists for no reason at all outside of gameplay, immersion broken 0 out of 10, and there was a zip line with a bunch of studs. Jack and Will steal a ship from the Beans on Toast for breakfast people, and that was the end of the first level. I unlocked a few characters, I'll need to get them all for 100% as well. Didn't get True Pirate unfortunately, run dead. Got the first gold brick out of 85 and it was on to level 2. Level 2 is all about Jack realizing that Will is a soy boy beta cuck zoomer with negative riz. What the fuck does that even mean? And he needs a real crew, so we go to Pirate Bay to recruit more crew members, and upon arrival I destroyed stuff for studs with a fish. I tried to shoot my shot with this lady only for her to slap me, fed an apple to a horse, and dumped a bucket of water on this guy to wake him up Walter White style. Wake up! Using his hammer, we repaired a thing and got a torch and took a visit to the underground teams where we found a short king named Marty who surprisingly doesn't have any relation to Marty O'Donnell, because that's how people are related by their first names. We gave a red diamond to this chick Anna Maria, who I'm sure if she was real I could fix, and just like in LEGO Indiana Jones, women in this game have the ability to jump higher. I will not be repeating my WNBA joke from that video though, because I don't believe in repeating jokes. Anyway, what is bro doing? We found another guy with a parrot or whatever, then got in a rowboat. Meanwhile, Elizabeth was feasting away on the kidnapper pirate's boat until they show how they got some kind of Mayan curse or whatever that turned them into immortal skeleton pirates, and that's level 2. Following level 2 was, of course, level 3. Although I suppose it isn't necessarily level 3, because what if we define our terms differently where 3 actually means 4? Checkmate, idiots, go to college. Jack and Will sneak onto the 28 Days Later ship and rescue Elizabeth, but Jack gets left behind and captured, and level 3 is all about us rescuing him. I'll just say this bit where they're throwing stuff overboard and they toss over an actual elephant made me laugh out loud when I was playing this. This is one of the last LEGO games where the cutscenes didn't have voiceover dialogue, and I just love this style so much. Maybe I'm just a grumpy old man. Anyway, I had to build cannons and blow open hatches on the side of the other ship to find Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and I was kind of bad at aiming them since there wasn't a reticle. It was like playing Halo Lasso all over again.
Watch my other videos.
We bust Jack out and he launches himself over in a cannon, and not Natalie Portman drops her medallion like an idiot, so now we have to go in the flooded part of our ship where I once again took advantage of the power of the barrel. For some reason, grabbing the token causes us to get launched out of the ship, and it's stolen by a monkey, so I ran over and fought the primate like the lesser being it is. One time when I was 16 and worked in fast food, a couple came through the drive-thru with their pet monkey. He was cute. After beating the simian like it owed me money, Captain Barbossa walked Elizabeth and Jack off the plank in another solid cutscene, which set up Chapter 4 of Curse of the Black Pearl, where they're stranded on a deserted island, finally free from the clutches of capitalism. We explored the Blue Lagoon, where Jack and Brooke Shields found an underground tunnel system, and we used a telescope to spy on the British for some reason, and the level ended with us trying to redirect a light around. Although I didn't quite understand that at first and wasted a bunch of time on the beach and got eaten by a shark. Actually, sharks don't eat people whole like that. Shut up! But yeah, eventually I got with the program and used the the light to make a signal fire for us to be rescued. Unfortunately, the British are who found us, but Elizabeth persuaded them to take us to Isla de Muerta to rescue Will Turner and defeat the spooky, scary pirates. And thus began the final level of the Curse of the Black Pearl, where we arrived at the island, but the British make Elizabeth stay on the ship because she's a girl, so she pretends to be a shark and sneaks inside with Jack Sparrow. I'm gonna assume this is exactly what happens in the movie. There's not much to this level. You break stuff, build, platform, and so on. There's this mechanic where you can only kill the zombie pirates when they're in the moonlight, but the game explicitly tells you that, so it isn't much of a curveball. That's another thing. I feel like in the older games, they wouldn't have straight up told you that, but I guess they decided to make this game journalist-proof. Jack gets killed, but because of the island curse or whatever, he turns into a skeleton, so we have a boss fight with Operation Barbarossa and his army of pirates. As Elizabeth, I killed people with a trident, Brick Tamlin style. We defeated Barbossa, the pirates' curse was lifted, and they turned normal, and the level ends with us escaping the tunnel and chasing him. Except I wanted to make sure to grab every stud I could on the way out, so he could have easily escaped. For some reason, he didn't though, so we fought him and his monkey. He seemingly died. The gang goes back to the ship. Jack gets arrested again, but makes his great escape. The end. Movie done. With that, for the first time in the game, I went to the port, which is this game's hub, where I could explore and immediately realize there were 4 movies worth of levels in this game instead of only 3 like I'd originally thought. This dampened my mood tremendously. Regardless, complaining wouldn't get this game done in under 24 hours, so I manned up and loaded up Movie 2 Dead Man's Chest. Elizabeth is sad because it's raining on her wedding day, but quickly gets even more sad because she and Will get arrested by Englishmen led by a 5'11" male. But in his office, he tells Will, like, hey, want to get married? Find me the Dead Man's Chest and Jack Sparrow. Out of all the scene interpretations I've done so far, I feel the most confident about this one. Will finds Jack's ship on an island inhabited by the cannibals from Bone Tomahawk, minus the splitting people in half at the ball sack part. Will and Mr. Gibbs are tied up into bone balls, and this level starts with us rolling around and them running over cannibal corpses trying to make our escape. Eventually, we break out and find Jack before he gets barbecued. At one point, I was supposed to carry a box across the river, and it took me an embarrassing amount of time to figure out how. Somehow, I didn't see the bridge you could dig up until after a couple of minutes of walking right by it. It's almost like I wear glasses and have terrible eyesight. Anyway, the gang runs back to Jack's ship and flee while the cannibals direct their attention to the dog. Chapter 2 of Dead Man's Chest takes us to a swamp village where once again it's pretty much just puzzles and whatnot. The most puzzling thing to me is how you're this far into the video but haven't hit the like button yet. I thought that was smooth. Every time I fell in the water by accident, there were alligators and scary Jaws type music started playing to make this an average Florida swimming experience. This entire level is pretty much just us transporting a monkey in a cage through the swamp, but after we got a certain way through, a Lake Placid crocodile stole our monkey. I think at that point you just have to say rip bozo and move on, but Team Sparrow was unfazed, and after failing to walk across beams and dying several times, dooming my chances of getting true pirate, we encounter the crocodile for a boss fight where you throw bombs into its mouth. We find a hut with this lady who tells us about the Dead Man's Chest and this pirate who got cursed with looking like an octopus man. There was some more building, and that was level 2. Flying Dutchman appears with his ship, the Davy Jones. He kidnaps Will Turner, then cries while playing the piano, presumably because trying to play it with a giant claw for a hand throws everything off. And the level starts with me as Will Turner and Bootstrap Bill Turner. Since they share a last name, I'm gonna assume the obvious. They're married. Strangely, Weird Beard McGillicuddy didn't really care about us tearing apart the deck and stealing all his money, as long as we didn't insult his ship or his mother. This level took me way longer than it should have, but I'll contend that it wasn't my fault. See, the game bugged out while I was jumping up here and let me go to a place you're only supposed to get to in free play. Here's a replay. I didn't realize that though, and after I dropped off, I was like, oh, maybe that was where I was supposed to go, and spent a few minutes trying to get back. But eventually, I stopped horsing around and progressed the story by giving this guy a broom. We found the fish crew playing Farkle, and then whatever this is, before regaining control. The rest of the mission was fairly boring. I destroyed stuff and got money and phased through walls as Wild Bill. There's this puzzle where you have to turn wheels to create a path up this water fountain thing, then jump on tiles and steal a key from around Davy Jones's neck, which I'm assuming unlocks the Dead Man's Chest. Instead of advancing straight to the next level, I decided to run around the port and look for red bricks, or as I learned in this game, red hats, which are hidden things you can buy that give you bonuses like invincibility or treasure ×2, which I found by jumping across a few fence posts in the main part of the port. Treasure ×2 makes it so all studs I pick up have double the value. So silver studs go from 10 to 20, gold from 100 to 200, and so on. By the way, this is my 5th Lego video, and I still explain this every time like you people don't already understand it. Anyway, Jack and Gibby go to a pirate bar where they find Elizabeth working as a bartender, meet this other guy named Norrington to help them find the chest, and level 4 begins with me standing in place because I was away from my computer doing laundry. After returning, I swam around and found a mini kit, then started digging up chests looking for the Dead Man's Chest, which is Davy Jones's heart, I guess. We find the right chest, then Dead Man's crew shows up, and Will, Jack, and Third Wheel fight over what to do with the chest. Somehow this leads to Jack riding around on a pig. We have a sword fight over the key. He runs up this tower and we gave chase, eventually getting to him on top of this roof where he flies away, and we get on this wheel and run him over and... Game crash. This game doesn't have checkpoints or anything, so that means after relaunching the game, I had to go through basically the entire level all over again. But that's fine, it's not like I'm trying to go fast or anything. So this ended up being like a 15-minute setback until I made it back to the giant wheel, this time with the game not crashing upon the cutscene's end. I fought Jack in a battle that I don't quite understand the physics of, then at the beach I had to kill all 5 of Davy Jones's top men, except like 10 seconds after killing one, they regenerate, so this was unironically the hardest part of the entire game because it doesn't end until all 5 are dead at the same time. Jared Leto steals a chest and the heart, the rest of the gang bails, and the Dutchman crew take the chest, not realizing Norbit still has the heart. One thing leads to another, and in level 5 I have to fight what I thought was a Sharktopus, but turned out to just be a regular old Kraken. We fight it, of course, through cannons and TNT, or after getting all the TNT to the top deck by shooting TNT with a cannon, which really makes the Kraken mad, and the level ended with a fight that took me a minute to figure out. Periodically, the Kraken sucks everything into its mouth, so my first idea was to hold a torch as he sucked me in and burn him. This didn't work. Then I tried throwing the torch in his mouth. That also didn't work. What did eventually work was throwing random objects into its gaping maw at the right time. For some reason, life preservers explode under these conditions. The torches work for setting off TNT on its tentacles. Bada bing, bada boom. Jack sacrifices himself to brush the Kraken's teeth. Davy Jones realizes his heart is gone. Jack's somehow still alive. Barbossa shows up, and the dog that the cannibals were chasing earlier is now their god. 2 movies down, 2 more to go. Next up was the third movie, At World's End. At World's End. More like, World of Tanks is a free-to-play online multiplayer game where you battle other players in tanks. That part you could probably figure out by yourself.
Unless you're stupid.
I've been playing it the last week or so, and I remember when I first loaded it up, I crushed everything in my way. I was good right out of the gate. Then I realized I was playing against bots. My actual matches against real people, well, they went a little bit different. You know what though? I may be bad, but it's still fun. You can use tactical mode and strategize your battle plans, or go in guns blazing like I do. I probably don't recommend that though. There's a whole lot of different tanks you can unlock, over 800, and you can customize those tanks with different skins and camouflages and emblems and whatever else you want. Register your account through the link in my description, and you'll get the Cromwell B tank, 250,000 credits, 7 days of premium, and 3 rental tanks for 10 battles each. The Tiger 131, T-78, and Type 64. World of Tanks is available on PC, Xbox, or PlayStation, so through the link you'll be able to choose your platform of choice. And like I said, it's completely free to play. Check it out through my link. It's a cool game. Thank you, World of Tanks, for sponsoring this video. Anyway, speaking of dogs, next up was the third Pirates movie, At World's End. Once again, I haven't actually seen this movie, but based on the Rotten Tomatoes score, it appears to be dog water. Then again, I've also seen what makes the critics cheer. The level is called Singapore, so I'm assuming that's where we're at. Singapore is pretty much just business as usual at this point for the game, although we did unlock exciting new characters like Tattoo Pirate, Tia Dalma, Sao Feng, Tai Huang, Gorgie Zhang, Artie Lang. The crew sets sail to find Hungry Jack, who's stranded in Gravy Jones' locker and seems to have gone completely... The crew sets sail to find Hungry Jack, who's stranded in Gravy Jones' locker and seems to have gone completely insane, given that this level starts with me playing as and locating multiple other imaginary Jacks for help repairing the ship. I fed a goat a purple flower to get him to like me, which is clear plagiarism from the open season video game released in 2006, when Elliot the deer attempts to court his love interest, Gazelle, by giving her purple flowers. I don't know what slick move Traveler's Tales thought they were pulling, but I'm onto them. Eventually, we get the ship put back together again. Jack tries to pull it out on his own before being assisted by crabs and brought back out to the sea. These levels are all long though, so it doesn't end quite there. The rest of the crew falls out of the sky onto a ship. Ancient pirate lore says we have to flip the ship upside down for some reason, and then the second half of the level is us assembling the crew. Some of them are locked behind bars, and I have no idea how that happened. Meanwhile, Jameer Gibbs is just sleeping. But we get everyone ready, swing on a chain, get the ship flipped over, which the pirate gods appreciate, and there's a flash of light and the ship flips back over, and I'll be honest, I have no idea what's happening at this point. I guess this lady is the key to killing Davy Jones. Elizabeth proves her loyalty to William by easily getting wooed over to the Singaporean ship with promises of food and sitting in a jacuzzi fully clothed, but unfortunately the Dutchman shows up with the British and little bro dies, and this is the weirdest way to set up a level ever. I had no idea what the objective was and just ran around trying to see what I could even do here. Having a gun and seeing a giant bullseye answered that question. What's actually happening here became clear to me when I realized I was playing as Norrington. I don't remember who he is, but I remember that he's somebody, and when I continued below deck and found Elizabeth and friends stuck in a prison cell with TNT outside of it, my goal became clear. I guess Will and Elizabeth were in a rough patch attached because she cozies up with Norwood 4, which Billiam Turner doesn't appreciate, of course. We run outside the ship and zipline across to this other ship where I got stuck. There were these two orange handles that I pulled on with Tattoo Pirate, and I didn't know what to do after that. I only saw the red Build-A-Brick and thought I missed a hammer or something. It didn't register for a few minutes that these could also be pulled, but in my defense, I walked past them like 5 times without a prompt. Norrington gets cut in half and beheaded, which puts an end to that love triangle. We go to another pirate hideout to find pirate leaders who are all currently occupied with various activities, so this level is all about us resolving those things and getting them to go to a secret pirate meeting to discuss pirate things, like fighting Davy Jones and using Stream East. Related, I watched the movie Interstellar last night. I thought it was really good, but the creative decision to put the entire movie in Chinese without subtitles was a little confusing. Oh yeah, there's an actual Lego level happening on screen at the moment, but there isn't much to talk about, hence me filling in the gaps by talking about random nonsense like I'm on one of my live streams. The last pirate lady needed a wig, and then we were off to the top level where almost immediately I slid back downstairs on a water slide. After getting back up, we opened a door, had a secret pirate meeting where a bunch of ships were on a table and everyone starts fighting as expected in a room full of pirates, and the level ends with us needing to find a bone for a dog. Once finding and delivering it, the dog digs up stuff in the back, blah blah blah. Next level, let's get this over with already. Holy shit. We cut back to the ship and Monster Lady is tied up and I have to throw a bunch of random stuff into a bucket to make her grow. This opening bit took me a few minutes since at first I didn't quite get what was happening and all the stuff was hidden. After getting the 4th object in, her crabs came out in full force, and after object 5, she straight up exploded and the Dutchman showed up and it started raining, and it was my job to build and shoot cannons at them. This also took a few minutes of my extremely valuable time. We get another cutscene where Will gets stabbed in the gut by Davy Jones, and after the cutscene we beat Bill Turner into submission until he becomes a good guy. The level ends with a fight against our good pal Davy Jones, one of the boss fights of all time. So I hit him a couple times and he ran around. So I chased him all over the ship until we got up here and he seemed to be trying to jump up but couldn't. I hit him again and he jumped onto a rope and would not let go. He was just stuck on the rope and I couldn't damage him at all or get him off. After a few minutes, I pulled up a playthrough of this level on YouTube, and yeah, this isn't what's supposed to happen here. I was completely rigged. After trying everything I could and waiting, I eventually conceded and backed out to the port. I once again had to completely start a level over when I had made it almost to the end. I would like to reiterate that I did like this game overall still and thought it was one of the better LEGO games I played. My second time through, I was much faster with everything, of course, now knowing exactly what to do. I got through the cannons part again, worked my way through Bootstrap Bill, fought Davy Jones, and this time he did what he's supposed to do, thankfully. So we stabbed him in the heart, he died, Will came back to life, we murdered Muggsy Bogues, and then we lived happily forever after. With 3 out of the 4 movies taken care of, I decided to explore the port a bit and find the other red hats. Shooting these targets made always double treasure appear. There were also these things to shoot that led me to Fall Rescue. I'm not going to go through every single one, but there are 20 in total, and I was mostly concerned with finding the other treasure multipliers. I also wanted to find the mini kit detector to make finding all the mini kits and free play a whole lot easier. I found treasure times 6 in this well, and to my shock, it was only 1.5 million. I'd buy them in order, but I couldn't find treasure times 4, and 1.5 million was affordable enough that I could just buy it after playing another couple levels. So just to be clear, I found where most of the red hats were, but didn't buy any more yet. In wandering around these areas too, by the way, are various characters from the game that I need to purchase to 100% the game. But again, I wouldn't want to waste money on any before getting all the treasure multipliers. So I decided to just load up the next and last movie, On Stranger Tides, where Jack and Mr. Gibbs get caught, and while in a jail car, they see an imposter among us. Am I right, fellow kids? For some reason, they're taken to a palace where they very easily break out and movie 4 begins. I have no memory of a 4th Pirates movie ever coming out, so I'm still not convinced that this is based on a real movie. Jack and Mr. Gibbs pull a 2020 and tear down a statue, allowing us to escape, except Gibbs gets CTE and it's time to roam the rooftops of London. I've never played Assassin's Creed either, but this looks to me like Assassin's Creed.
Frog, have you not played Assassin's Creed? Do you just not play anything other than Halo?
Correct. We get on a cart and go through a very Indiana Jones-esque action sequence where we jump between cars, except instead of looking for the Ark of the Covenant, we're looking for something broken that Mr. Gibbs can repair. After this whole sequence, Jack gets dropped off at a bar where he encounters fake Jack, whose picture looks like Michael Jackson. After beating them up, we learn that it's a woman, and Jack immediately falls in love. At the conclusion of the level, I was still 180,000 studs away from being able to afford score times 6, so I just moved on to level 2. On Lady's boat, there's an evil-looking flag and a zombie crewman. Then she tells a story of how Blackbeard the pirate took over the world by drinking mermaid tears, which leads to us being thrown below deck in level 2 beginning. It's another one of those find more crew members levels, which I guess are just other prisoners or slaves, whatever we are. This guy still got to keep his guitar at least. I was spending even more time than usual trying to collect as many studs as I could to get to the 1.5 million in total, because once you get your second multiplier, the floodgates really start to open. You'll see what I mean here in a minute. After rounding up everyone and blowing open the door to the deck, we run into Blackbeard, who says howdy do and zombifies one of the guys we just freed, and the level ends with us needing to now rescue this other guy, which we do of course by parkouring, spinning a wheel and punching him, and his immediate reaction for some reason is to start singing, which attracts a mermaid, presumably because because she thought there was a dying animal to rescue. I was only 76,000 studs away from the magic number, so I backed out to the port and broke everything in sight for more studs, which quickly allowed me to finally purchase treasure times 6. The multiplier stacked, so combined with treasure times 2, I now had a times 12 multiplier in total. Next up was level 3 Whitecap Bay, where Angel Ika continues to play hide and cold with Jack, who still believes he can fix her. With my new treasure multiplier, I hit true pirate before even leaving the first part of the first area. We power up a telescope and spot a mermaid who what's-his-face successfully woos, but unfortunately she's accompanied by a bunch of evil mermaids who start killing people, and from what I can gather through LEGO storytelling osmosis, this seems like a really weird movie. But we successfully kidnap the nice mermaid and lock her in a cage because we're the good guys, and I only have 2 levels left. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. This level starts in an old ship and is where I realize this dude is supposed to be Captain Barbossa, who I now get to play as alongside Jack. A lot of stuff definitely happens this level. I have a whole lot of things to say about it. Oh wait, look at that, I'm already at the end. Well, that's too bad, I guess. Moving on. I went back to the port and picked up the treasure magnet red hat, then proceeded to the last level, the Fountain of Youth, because Blackrock the pirate wants to be down with the Skibbity, I guess. This may seem like just another level, outside of just being the last one, but this ended up being the longest level for me in the entire game, by a landslide. We'll get to why exactly that was. As Jack and not Elizabeth, we tore down trees, jumped around, built a telescope, and watched water fill up a door lock, which opened up a cave. Inside the cave, there are these lamps you have to put together and then raise. When you get all 3, a magical water elevator appears, but I didn't understand that because I walked over it a ton of times and nothing happened. But eventually, Blackbeard came over and got sent to the ceiling, and I figured out how to follow suit. We get another cutscene where there's a big fight in the Fountain of Youth, and now we gotta figure out how to get to Blackbeard in the middle. There's these mermaid statues that you have to carry and place on the other side, so I started pushing this thing in to make a bridge. Unfortunately, my game bugged and Jack stopped pushing too early, causing the lock gate to come down with the block not yet inside, locking me out from pushing it in, meaning I couldn't make a bridge. I thought, surely, I'm just misunderstanding what's supposed to happen here. I'll come back to that. So I ran to the other side, got it taken care of with its mermaid statue, all good, and returned to Brainstorm. I tried using a bomb, only to get blown up. I scoured the area trying to find some other way to get the statue across. I tried swimming with it. Eventually, I did just pull up someone's playthrough of this level and saw that, yeah, my game was just bugged and I got screwed yet again and had to restart a level completely over for a 3rd time. But no matter, this was still the last level. I was almost there on completing the story. I just had to get through it, and now I knew what to do, so it wouldn't take as long. I ripped apart trees, built a telescope, watched water, built lamps, and rode a magical elevator to return to the Fountain of Youth chamber. I worked my way back to where the first statue was, pushed in the block, and the exact same thing happened. I was holding forward, and for no reason at all, Jack just stopped pushing too early. Excuse me for 1 second. Break trees, build telescope, water, lamp, elevator, statue. It's gonna do it again, isn't it? Oh my god. We are so unbelievably back, boys. Since this time the game decided to work, I was able to place both mermaid statues, which knocked over a pillar and let us walk to face Black Wolf the Dragon Master once and for all. The good mermaid apparently is also a human again. Blackbeard uses the magical powers of his sword, then we hit him and give Penelope Cruz Fountain of Youth water, which restores her and damages Blackbeard. It's a little time consuming, but whatever. We defeat him, everyone lives happily forever after, Jack gets slapped. The end. I was finally done with every story mission. Holy moly. 8.5 hours in, and I could finally move on to the even more time-consuming part, going back through every level in free play and collecting everything. But first, I wanted to take care of a couple things, starting with grabbing the rest of the treasure multiplier red hats, whose locations I still needed to find. I didn't know where treasure times 4, times 8, or times 10 were. I first checked this spot at the dock, not one there. Next, I climbed this tower and spied on a guy digging for treasure. The 3rd item he dug up, he sent over my way. It turned out to be treasure times 10, which I could actually afford already. For you math majors out there, that gives me a 120 times multiplier. I found Blackbeard in a pond in front of a shack and purchased him, which let me blow open this door. Inside, I found treasure times 4. The always double treasure red hat doubled my multiplier yet again, and I was still missing the last multiplier, but I had enough studs that I just started buying every character I saw. I did end up finding treasure times 8 in the shack, which brought my multiplier to times 7,680. I no longer had to worry about money in any capacity. I kept rounding up characters and red hats, including the mini kit detector. So with 20 out of 20 red hats unlocked, I loaded up level 1 of movie 1 and began my hunt for mini kits. The way that the mini kit detector makes this way easier is by placing arrows where all the mini kits spawn, but it doesn't tell you how to get to them, or if they aren't already spawned in, how to make them spawn. So it definitely makes things way easier, but it is more work than just go here to the arrow. Like I mentioned earlier, a unique thing to this game is the hidden items you can find with Jack's compass. There's 8 per level, and now with the ability to access free play only areas, I could find them all too, but they do make 100%ing each level more time consuming than usual. At one point, I hopped on a barrel as Mermaid Girl and got launched into orbit. I think I just bought like a cursed copy of the game because I have never experienced this many bugs in a LEGO game before. I rescued a captured crab, which gave me my 10th and final mini kit and the ability to ride the crab. The mini kits in this game build ships inside bottles. Neato. Only 19 more levels to complete. Some of the mini kits tie into each other, like you get a mini kit for putting this boat in the water, and then you use it to get to another secret area with 2 more mini kits. As I worked through the first movie, the mini kits and hidden items were by and large self-explanatory. I wasn't using guides or anything. It was all good until I made it to level 5, which was very confusing. In the chamber where you fight Barbossa, there were these glass stalactite things in the water that a mermaid could break by singing. However, switching through my characters, I didn't have a mermaid because the one guy was my singer instead. I tried to get close enough to break the glass without going too far to where I could no longer sing, but it wasn't working. I needed a mermaid character and the game just didn't give me one. So without a mermaid, I couldn't do anything here. It wasn't until a few hours later when I realized that in this game's free play, I could have just held the Y button and selected any character I wanted in the whole game. But since I didn't know that at this point, I saved and quit, went back to the port and made sure to have a mermaid for the level, made it back to the Barbossa fight and continued on like you're supposed to. Even beyond that though, this was just a really confusing level for mini kits and hidden items. Like, I was here for a while just getting turned around and not entirely getting what I was supposed to do. But when I did finally grab the 10th mini kit in front of this golden dog, I had officially completed Curse of the Black Pearl in its entirety. I never needed to play any of those levels again for any reason. I bought a few more characters and then it was on to Dead Man's Chest. First level was no big deal, then level 2 I did another dumb. I advanced through the level grabbing mini kits, fought the big alligator boss, and had 9 out of 10 mini kits and could not for the life of me figure out how to get the last one to spawn. I tried everything I could think of, bombing the water, using Blackbeard's sword, singing to the water, sacrificing people to the water, nothing worked. So I'll be honest, I cheated and looked up a free play walkthrough, and yeah, I was soft locked yet again and had to just restart the level. So on the alligator boss I had already killed, you have to throw 3 pieces of food into its mouth to get the mini kit. So there we go. Level 3, no problem. Level 4, I made it all the way to the end before realizing I was missing one of the hidden items, but level 5 against the Kraken was all good, so there we go, movie 2 done. With half of the movies done, I moved on to movie 3. If this video was good, I would just show a compilation of me picking up the rest of the mini kits while The Reason by Hoobastank played, but unfortunately that would be too based. I never really know what to say during the free play portions of these videos. Like, I went here, grabbed this, and did that hundreds of more times. What more do you people want from me? I hope I'm successfully expressing that by this point in the game, I was ready for it to be over. But I still had one more movie left to complete.
I grabbed all the mini kits. It was easy, mission accomplished.
Okay, there we go. 4 movies fully completed. I only had 2 things left to do. Unlock the rest of the characters I was missing. Done. And then with all but 1 gold brick, I could build the door to the secret bonus level, The Ride, which I guess is supposed to be like the actual Disney ride. This level was terrible though. Don't recommend. All you do is stand around fighting guys until you move on to the next area. The Lego Town bonus levels from the older games are much better. But enough whining from me. That got me my last gold brick, which meant I had now 100%ed Lego Pirates in about 16 hours, well under the 24-hour mark. Massive W for the frog. Ouch. Thanks again to World of Tanks for sponsoring this video. Check it out using the link in my description. If you like this video, click the video on screen to see me do another Lego game in under 24 hours, or check out my playlist of all the Lego games I've done. Thanks to my patrons for supporting the channel like always. I got a couple movies I need to watch.